I just mixed 6 completely different genres in under 3 minutes using nothing but the DDJ Flex 4 and Rekordbox. In this video, I'm going to break it all down. The transitions, the effects, how I use the controller's features to keep it tight and creative, and how you can start building genre blending sets just like this one. Whether you're brand new to the Flex 4 or you've been DJing for a while, there's a lot that you can steal from this. Let's get into it. Okay, so for this mix, I'm going to be using Rekordbox, and the first thing that we need to do is open up our streaming service and pick our music. So here inside Rekordbox, you can see that I'm using Beatsource on the left-hand side, but you could use Apple Music, Tidal, SoundCloud, Beatport, or Beatsource. As DJs, we've got so much choice these days for using streaming services in our DJ software. Any of them would work really well for a set like this. Now, if you don't see the streaming service inside Rekordbox that you want, then just go to the settings, click on View, and then under Layout, this is where you can choose which streaming services are shown inside Rekordbox. So now if we head over to the left-hand side, you can see that I've got the genres window open, and this is where you can choose which genre you'd like to browse. So if we go to hip hop and open that up, you can either check out the top 100 hip hop tracks in Beatsource, or you could take a look at all of the different playlists in that genre. Now, the main reason that I chose to use Beatsource for this mix is you can actually use stems with Beatsource and Beatport. You can use it with Tidal if you pay a bit extra, but you cannot use it with Apple Music, which is a real shame because for me, the kind of set that I'm about to show you really benefits from having stems available to use. So here in Beatsource, if I go down to my playlists and click this one here, you can actually see that I've made the playlist of the songs already. And I found these tracks in Beatsource by going through all of the top 100 for all of the different genres that I'm going to use. So here we got the hip hop top 100, you've also got the dance top 100, and you can go to pop and check out the top 100 there. Now, a couple of the tracks I've chosen were not in the top 100, but they were tracks that I already knew and I knew that I wanted to include in this mix. And the way that you find songs inside Beatsource is you go to search tracks right here, go to the search bar on the right hand side, type in the song that you want, and then right here, this is the track that I want. So all you need to do is then drag that over to the playlist that you want to add it to inside Rekordbox. Now, the reason that I really like using a streaming service to find music when I'm preparing a set is I get to see the key of the track, the BPM of the track, and I can also just drag any of the songs into a deck like this. And I immediately get an idea of the waveform of the track. I can see how long the intro is. I can see where there are parts of the track where it's a breakdown section, so there's no drums and no bass. And as a DJ, this gives me a really good idea of how certain songs are going to work in the set that I'm working on. So for me, streaming services inside DJ software are a game changer. I absolutely love them and I use them all the time when I'm preparing a set. So the 6 songs that I've chosen for this mix are these ones right here. We start off with Calvin Harris and Rihanna, a pop track. Then we go into Migos, which is a trap song. Then we move over to UK Drill with Central C and Lil Baby, Band for Band. Then I'll be playing a dance track, Diplo and Justin Bieber, Where Are You Now? Next up is Drake with Hip Hop and Rich Baby Daddy. And then we end with High Contrast, If We Ever, the Unglued remix for a drum and bass ending. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each one of these transitions before I show you the full set at the end of this video. So now that we have our set list down, let's talk a little bit about some of the features inside Rekordbox and on the DDJ Flex 4 that I'm going to be using for this mix. Now, because this mix is going to be so quick, it's 6 genres in 3 minutes, I've decided to use stems quite a lot for this. Now, inside Rekordbox, you can see that each deck has a drums, vocal, and instruments stems button. So I can isolate any one of these individual elements during any of my mixes. So if I want to use just the acapella, I can do that. And if I want to remove the acapella, so it's just the instrumental, I can do that too. It is worth noting that I am using the higher quality stems inside Rekordbox. So here in the settings, let's go to extensions, and then under stems, you can see the stems analysis process I have got set to prioritize sound quality. Now, to be completely honest with you, if you have this set to prioritize speed, the stems don't sound very good. That's just the honest truth. But fortunately, they did update their stems recently, so if you do have a powerful computer, you can set this to prioritize sound quality like I have here, and the stems will sound way better. They don't sound perfect, but they don't sound perfect in any other DJ software either. So this is good enough for me. And what I've also done is I have mapped the stems buttons on each deck under the sampler pad mode. So you can see right here, if I turn off this button, it turns off the vocal on deck 1. This one will turn off the drums, and this one will turn off the instruments. And I've done the same on this deck. So very quickly, I can manipulate those stems features without having to go over to the laptop and use the trackpad. By the way, if you've just picked up a DDJ Flex 4 or you're trying to get more creative with it, I've put together a set of completely free lessons to help you get started the right way. They cover key features, creative techniques, and real-world mixing tips like the ones that I'm using here. And they're completely free. The link is in the description if you want to check them out. So let's take a listen to the first transition and I'll show you how I made it. So I start off with Calvin Harris and Rihanna on this deck, and I begin the track at the start of the second breakdown. When Rihanna's vocal comes in, I then start playing the instrumental only of the Migos track. So let's take out the vocal. Both decks are also synced, and sync is going to be a super important tool for me to use during this mix because it's so fast. By having sync enabled, I can spend my time being more creative with the DDJ Flex 4 rather than making sure the tempos match all the time. This would just take up most of my time in a 3-minute set. So for this, we're using sync. You'll see here, if I move this tempo slider, it adjusts the BPM of both decks. This is going to be super useful for this mix. So after I start playing the Calvin Harris track, I actually use some Smart CFX on this deck. Smart CFX are combination effects that are built into Rekordbox, and they work really well with the DDJ Flex 4. If I hold down Shift and press the Smart CFX button, you can see it cycles through them. And for this mix, we're only going to be using the Vaporize Smart CFX. But there are some really good ones inside Rekordbox. Reflect Echo, Phantom Echo, and Noise Chopper are my favorites, alongside Vaporize. So this is the first transition. And then I set a 1-beat loop. And then I apply some echo. So still using Vaporize, Smart CFX here, and a little bit of echo. And then I bring the vocal back in on the Migos track. For the next transition, I bring in the Central C and Lil Baby track called Band for Band. You'll see that the BPM is still at around 131 to 132. So before I bring in the Central C track, I need to increase the tempo on this deck. So I increase it to around 135. And this is where I start mixing in the Central C track. I take your beat right from you. Bitch, I'm a dog. Beat the whole walls loose. Hop in the frog. I tell that bitch to come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. And now I need to bring the tempo up to 140. Apply some echo. Set a loop. And then jump to this hot cue. Next up, I bring in the Diplo song, Where Are You Now? And using the Central C acapella, I use the hot cues to trigger a part of the acapella that says we can go band for band. And I also use the stop start button to create a stopping effect on the word band. It sounds like this. So I take out everything but the vocal here. After that, I let the Diplo song play a little bit until the end of the track, and then I do some very simple baby scratches to bring in the Drake track on this deck. And it sounds like this. Applying some Vaporize Smart CFX. After the Drake track, the final transition goes from Drake at 140 BPM into a drum and bass track at 173. So this is quite the BPM jump, but if done right, it can make sense and it can sound good. So after I scratch in the intro of the Drake track, I let the intro play, and then I jump to this hot cue here, which is near the end of the track. And you can see I've also set an active loop so that when I trigger that hot cue, it also triggers a 32 beat loop. This is a feature that Serato doesn't have, and it's something I use in Rekordbox all the time. You can essentially save a loop to a hot cue, which is great. Now the song that I'm mixing in is actually not in the same key. And because the Flex 4 does not have a button to sync the keys, I have to do it in the software by clicking on key sync. When the drum and bass track drops at the end of the transition, I also want to make sure that it goes back to the original key. So to do this, I just click on the right icon here next to the key to go back to the original key of the track. So let's take a listen to this final transition. Slowly increasing the BPM. Applying some echo. And then back to the original key of this track. So now let's take a listen to the full mix.
On records, got backers on backers, I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your pick right from you. Bitch, I'm a dog. Beat down her walls, loose. Hop in the fall. I tell that bitch to come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. Paid already, I don't need no hit song. We don't need ID, low bro 17 in the club, ain't scrolling TikTok. F's just saw him, I'll thick one. Which one? Who do you want, bro? Pick one. If I shoot my shot, I'll hit one. Matter of time till I get them all ticked off. Alright. We could go bam for bam. 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 We could go bam for. We could go bam for bam. We could go bam for bam. We could go bam for bam.
Now, if you're ready to take your DJing to the next level, then I have built a full DDJ Flex 4 course that goes deep into creative mixing, transitions, and performance techniques. And honestly, it's everything that I wish I had when I started DJing. If you'd like to check it out, then just hit the link down in the description. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. And if you would like to check out more from me and my channel, then YouTube recommends this video right here.